Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Oh, there we go.
And Sam, John, right? Craig, everybody's coming in. Hi, everybody. And Lisa. So welcome, everybody. Um, it's so good to see your faces. And thank you for being here. And I want to give you a welcome to our community of actors and teachers and faculty that teach acting. You've met us, and so here we are. I want to say we want to give a brief overview of what we're going to be doing here, and that is catching you up on what's been happening with our student groups, and opening up for just a few questions in general that we can then take to a breakout sessions. And Carolyn's going to help us break us out into smaller groups so that we can have all the time to ask the questions. Then we'll come back and we have two of our freshmen, Nick and Madison, and we're going to show you what we've been doing in class. We're going to have a little scene, and then we'll open it up for a Q&A. So Carolyn, can you take from here and anything regarding our student-led groups or?
Yeah, I was actually just looking at this, and for some reason I don't see, maybe Zach, you could look into this. I don't see the option for creating breakout rooms in this function. And I think I have supposed to have co-hosting ability to do that, but yeah, so well, that's Scott and I'm Carolyn. There's Martha and there's Kirsten, who is on sabbatical this semester, but she's here anyway. And yeah, this has been a really kind of bizarre spring, obviously, for everybody. And I think we're really proud of the fact that we're still going. We've not just going, we're not just like teaching online, we're performing. Lots of performances going on. Laurel was just in our student group's production of Romeo and Juliet on Zoom this past weekend. I'm directing the playwrights thing that's tonight at 11, if you want to join that on Facebook. And we did Blythe Spirit. This weekend we have Hierarchy of Fish that's being live streamed. It's not what anybody signed up for, right? Nobody signed up for acting on Zoom. But I think that we are discovering and learning a ton of stuff that's going to be so useful, even though it's frustrating at times. There's when everybody gets ready for acting on camera or working with green screens or working, the amount of imagination that is required to transfer your acting skills into this environment is sort of extraordinary. And I think our students are really rising to the challenge in a way that I'm really proud of. And I think our faculty are too, which is really pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys have had sort of the spiel about, kind of what we do and what our student and our student groups. Nick, who's with us, is a member of the men's music fraternity, aren't you, Nick?
Yes, Finding Alpha Sinfonia is the.
You pledged that this year. Laurel is a member of the Shakespeare troupe. And we also have the improv troupe, the Loaf. We have this playwrights group, which is a student produced every week. They do the playwrights thing at 11 o'clock. And that was actually sort of the first thing that came back online when we went dormant for a second. It was like, wait, playwrights can keep going. If you have any questions about that, obviously there's some people here that can give you some more answers. I think the reason we wanted to do breakout rooms is it's much easier on this platform to deal with 5 people in your face rather than all of these people and multiple sounds. But I'm not sure.
I think this is a group, if I'm seeing everybody, which I think I am, that we could open up the floor and share it all together.
Cool.
Scott, you may have permission to create those breakout rooms if it's coming, since you were on the original creation of this call.
Well, I think, like I said, I'm looking and I see everybody on the page. I don't have to move, and you don't want me moving people to break out. God knows where I might send you. So what you're hearing today, and since we've last seen you, and I've seen some of you in my class, any of you are always welcome to come to class and come to rehearsal. There's a few rehearsals left of the hierarchy of Zoom. We are welcome to be at playwrights, any of these things. So that's what Zoom can allow us to do. But can we hear from some of you, questions or thoughts since we last saw you, and what you might be thinking, or questions that you may have? There's been a Facebook group, is that right? That's been created by our freshmen. Or can you raise your hand if you're a part of that, or any of you? John, are you?
No.
All right, John. Okay. Sam, are you?
Yep.
I didn't mention that. All right. Well, you're welcome to, if some, we don't have your emails to the students. And so they look around and try to find you. So that could be, hi, Rebecca. You're in New York City, aren't you? Oh my gosh. So you're more than welcome. We would like to say at the end of this, if you would like to give your email to a student, and if you have any one-on-one questions to a student, you can do that as well.
I am an admin in the Facebook group, so I think I can add you guys and approve anybody that still needs to be put in there.
That's Madison. She's a freshman.
Hi.
Questions or thoughts?
Can I just ask who's gotten your email with the Facebook in there? Anybody that's gotten it? Because they're coming to you if you haven't already gotten it. Just so you know, FYI, watch out for it. Okay.
Martha, do you want to talk about some of what you've been doing with the seniors with Zoom and digital? What we found it's possible to do? Some places they're just sending people videos and say, watch this. They're not doing that.
We're not doing that. Well, we were really lucky. Nathan was with us in Acting for the Camera. A couple of things that might be really fun to let you know about. The seniors have been working with professional playwrights and meeting online on Zoom, because we can meet them all over the world. Some are in California, some are in New York, some are in back in their homes, in different places. So the seniors have been having this one-on-one matchup, meeting a professional playwright, and some of those playwrights are also screenwriters who are writing for TV and film, and they have a little chat, get to hang out on Zoom together. And then the playwright goes away and thinks about everything, gets buzzed, everything that buzzed them in the conversation that they had. And they write a monologue for the senior, and then they come back together and mash up again. And the actor gets a chance to read the piece, and they get to work on it together, and the playwright gets some feedback from the actor. And so that's all been happening because we can break barriers with this and get anywhere. And we're going to have an online performance of that. The seniors are we're meeting with our agents and casting directors that are coming in and seeing their scenes and their and still working in terms of industry. And then, as I said, Nathan got a chance to come into Acting for the Camera, which has been fabulous, because while we usually work obviously in studio with on camera work, now we've been able to work in this format, and I think it's provided students an opportunity to really experience what it's going to be like when they're out on their own, with their own camera, with their own phone, being their self-director for the first couple of years of their career, really being able to discerningly look at what they're presenting to put out there in the industry, because this is really changing. Not only this, already self-submissions for obviously for casting, but for casting purposes in all of the mediums, theater, film, television, have just been going through the roofs. People are working that way. It's the way, it's going to be the manner for your generation. And we've really had the opportunity for actors to say, this is mine. I got to own it. I've got to. I got to know how to produce this tape, put my work out there, and really how it feels to be in this supportive community together and in class, but then also to take it into that home environment, set up that studio, be ready to work, listen to my sound, look at my lighting, So anyway, but and Nathan, I was going to ask you anything you want to say about, you got to jive with us in there.
Yeah, I did. And it was really interesting and almost like inspiring to watch all of the students do their own thing. And every student had the same monologue, like the same script, and all the interpretations and expressions and emotions behind what they said were all unique, and the level of professionalism and the creativity that everyone put into their assignment was really awe-inspiring, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed the class, and I'm glad that I was able to sit in on it.
You come back anytime, and any of you, we are welcome to drop in and speak.
She likes Nathan. Scott's smiling too.
Wait, is that Craig? Craig? No, that's not Craig. Well, your camera is muted.
We lost you.
Yeah, I know.
This is nothing against Nathan, but Martha loves everybody.
Everybody loves Martha.
Good point, Carolyn.
I gotta tell you, one thing I do want to tell to the freshmen, because I'm just, if I may, I'm just really proud. And Nathan, thanks for that, man. Thanks for that shout out. I do love you. But
Love you too, Martha.
one thing that I really think is so cool, and I'm jazzed about it, is that it took us about a week. And as Carolyn said, playwrights got up ASAP. Also, the show that was supposed to open, Bly Spirit, went right into online rehearsals, thinking they were going to go back on stage, didn't, and said, let's do this thing, because they were getting jazzed in rehearsal about what was happening. And all this, in that nanosecond of turnaround, there was so much happening online, so much being created. And I really do not think there are many universities who've already produced a full-length Shakespeare, have not canceled their shows, and have gone into online students creating and self-directing in this medium. And I just think that is so cool. I just want to throw that out there. And Laurel, you've been witnessing it in Hierarchy of Fish, which is going up on Sunday. You were just telling me about rehearsals.
Yeah, rehearsals for that. It's been one of those things where we're the only main stage show that our whole process has been on Zoom. So like, excuse me, Blythe Spirit, which went up like 2 weeks ago, had blocked their whole show and had 2 weeks after break, or maybe just a week. I'm not sure. I think just a week.
Yeah.
To put it up in person. Like that was going to be their tech week. And then we moved online, and they basically just did more in-depth table work and figuring out how to make the medium of Zoom work. And they put up the show. It was really, really good. But we have the luxury from the Hierarchy of Fish cast that from day one, we've known. like this is going up and it's going up on Zoom. Like, yes, that was when it was 2 weeks and then we'll go back to class, but also in the back of our minds, we were kind of preparing for the worst. But with that, we've been able to dive really deep into character work. We've been able to have the playwright in every single rehearsal with us, listening to our feedback and answering our questions. And like, to be college students and have the opportunity to work with a playwright who's living in New York right now to like adjust a script for us and for like our needs and what we think of it. Oh, Scott's got a screen up. Scott's got a screen up. I know. But yeah, it's just been a super, super cool thing to witness. Yeah, that's a still from it. So like everyone, that's before we started tech for it. But in the first act, it takes place in a dorm room and everyone is in their like rooms. And, you know, you enter with your laptop, you set it down on your bed, and then you have your conversation like you're in a dorm. And then the second act is a little bit more like it's in a conference room. So it's more like white backdrop, black swivel chair. It's one of those things where it's just consistently having to find innovative ways to make this work on a medium that none of us were expecting to be using this semester. So
now I'm trying to get out.
Someone help Scott.
I know I should not have done that. I should
Go up to the top or go to the bottom.
And unshare.
Unshare. I don't
Red, look for the red square.
Yeah, stop sharing.
You did.
But that was pretty good though, right? For me.
Yeah, no, it was good. I was really impressed.
Yeah. Good job, Scott.
A little risk.
I know, I can't help you with that. I'm Scott's assistant director, but I have no idea how to stop sharing a screen. So
I can tell you guys, I have been, like Laurel said, it's been our community of hierarchy of fish, because that's how we came into it. We've got freshmen and seniors who I know they've just gotten to know each other through this community of Zoom. And I was just thinking the other night, I talked to them about what a great ensemble has been created, because the play is written in an ensemble. I think at most there are 8 characters on screen, and they're all interacting, and it's a 2-hour show. So by the time, it's just incredible how we've taken to it, and our imaginations have gone from, well, it'll be something like a table read, but we've kept playing and developing, and we are so excited about where we've come to, and I'll keep that under wraps. So
we've
got a band. Nick is in a band. They've created a video of Beyonce's Freedom. That's great with the show. Anyway, I'm just going like this.
I'm going like this because I have a question that's come through on the Zoom chat.
Okay.
And that really has to do with what's it like to perform without a live audience, which I know, that's kind of one of the really odd things about, especially I know I was talking to Amy after Blythe Spirit about the fact that if you're doing a comedy, you not only do you not have the person in front of you that you're acting with, you just have them on the screen, but how do you know if anybody out there thinks it's funny or what? And that of course is the exact same problem that you have when you're filming something. The audience is missing, and I think that is a challenge, right? You just don't know. And so it's like the moment after everything is over when the Zoom can pop up, and you can have the talk back, because I think that's one of the important things that every one of these Zoom productions is doing, is having a conversation afterwards, because that's the only way to get feedback from the audience. And we certainly need that, because it's kind of weird to be in a bit of a vacuum with it. So I guess Laurel, you with Romeo and Juliet, you had that. Do you want to talk to that? I mean,
yeah, sure. I can make it quick. It's nice with hierarchy because I'm assistant directing it. So all I'm doing is me and Scott call each other while we set up our headphones and watch the show, and we talk about directing notes. Like, that's all I have to do. But for Romeo and Juliet, it was a thing where was a luxury because Shakespeare is so much just about the language. So it wasn't like a big thing. This is less of audience, more of like not having an acting partner there, because we're a Meisner trained school. Like the 2 years that I've gone through, I'm a sophomore, have been Meisner trained. You're there in person, you're listening and responding, right? So with the Shakespeare, it's like, how much can you use your language? Like it's forcing you to use your language because there's no one on the other side. So that's a little bit of a advantage that we had to do Shakespeare over Zoom, but it's definitely weird. Like it's weird to stand in your guest room and do a full length show with no one there to watch and no one there to act with, but still a blessing to have as positive feedback as we did. I think it's just a thing where you have to know that you're providing a story for the people who are sitting at home doing nothing. You know, right now it is a means of entertainment. Like it's still educational. Hierarchy of Fish is definitely educational, but right now, like it's so important to just have something to do for 2 hours on a Saturday night, you know? And how cool is that to share that with your peers and share that with prospective students? You know, I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that. That's how I think of it.
I'd like to pop in because I've observed all those productions, and it has not only, you know, something to do and entertain me, but I feel like I am part of the community when I log on and become part of it. I'm participating, and I feel totally. Both shows that I've seen and the rehearsals that I've sat in on, I just feel like I'm brought right in. I feel immersed in it, and even though I'm on mute and my video is on mute, I'm in that world, and it's really been a wonderful thing. Beyond entertaining me, I've felt connected. It's in this circumstance.
Yeah,
and I would also, if I could, go ahead, Laurel.
No, I was just going to quickly say this is a shameless plug for my school. Community is the reason I came here, and there has never been a more prevalent time that is showing them right now. Like, that's my statement.
Amazing.
I'm Shenandoah.
What I was going to say about that is, I think Scott mentioned that I'm on sabbatical. Carolyn did, which means that I'm not on campus anyway this semester. As it turns out, nobody is. But I've been watching from afar. You know, and I've been getting the emails that all my colleagues are getting, and what they have done is extraordinary. And I just want to say to any of you considering, you know, you're coming, and we can't wait to see you in the fall, that worst case scenario, we are planning for the best case scenario, but also the worst case scenario. I've watched my colleagues move mountains, and I'm confident to say to you that you're going to be held up in any environment or situation you're going to be learning in, that I feel really confident that you're going to get the best in whatever medium it is. I see that my colleagues have delivered the best to our students this semester, and it has blown my mind. So I'm just, shout out to my colleagues.
Thank you. Speaking of next year, Lord willing, the season will look like this. In the fall, for the plays, just speaking of the plays, I'll be directing a play called The Servant of Two Masters. It's an old commedia dell'arte Italian. What century is that, Carolyn? That's
it's the Italian Renaissance. It's so the 16th century is when it was.
Yeah. So I'm a sucker for romantic and comedies and romance, and I hear within the story a beautiful, funny love story, and somehow or another my heart went to almost like an American view of what we might think Italy would be like, particularly in the 1960s. This village, Dolce, where's the Dolce Vita?
Dolce Vita.
The sweet life, and you know, something so sexy and beautiful and funny. So we're gonna set it in that period, and it's called quite a few comedic actors that are physically funny, And I'm hoping that'll be a beautiful night of romantic comedy. And then Kirsten has a play. You want to talk a little bit about yours?
Sure. And that's in the spring semester, right?
Yes.
Okay. A dream play, which was originally an original script by Strindberg, and that would be in the naturalistic period. And then Carol Churchill, who is a very well-known contemporary playwright, acclaimed, her adaptation of this play. So there are the potential for lots and lots of characters. The main character is a goddess. Her name is Agnes, and she comes down to, and it's really, you know, I think about this play right now and thinking, what a study for us. She comes down to earth to see what it is like to be human, and you know, why it's so imperfect. And so that's been on my mind lately, just with what's been happening with us. To explore that next year will be, I'm getting excited about it, actually.
And then Kevin Covert, director of the musical theater program, will be directing, and we're excited about this because it's a very small cast of four. Kenneth Lonigan's This Is Our Youth. And so we're really excited of the array that we have. We work to make sure that each generation that moves through is getting a variety of what the history of theater has given us. And so these are the plays that we've selected, and we're so excited. Anyone?
You guys are quiet today.
You know,
I have a question.
yeah.
So currently, we were supposed to do Anne Frank this spring, but we're starting to move it online. So I guess I'm asking if you guys have learned any tips and tricks to be able to take something that is so emotionally intimate and being able to synthesize it with technology.
I think you'll be able to see today, and you'll see two of our students perform, and we can show that in a little while. But if anyone wants to jump in and answer that question, Laurel, you've been seeing us direct.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is probably not the answer you're looking for right now. I can give you my email. I can like send in the chat or like find you on Facebook or something. Feel free to email me about that, because there's so many little specific things that are more just like situational that we're having to solve like piece by piece. But if something comes up, I'm like, that's a big question to unpack.
The importance of where you're looking and whether or not you're looking directly at the camera, or if you're looking here, it may not feel like a big difference for the actor, but for the person on the receiving end of it, it makes a huge difference. So if I'm looking down here, I'm just looking at the bottom, tile on the screen, but it feels completely cut off. Whereas if you're up around, at least around the camera, it makes a huge difference. Lighting is huge. Right now you're very dark. So
Yes.
It's hard to see. You know what I mean? Like all of those things, all of the technical aspects affect the emotional aspects.
Yeah, and we've discovered, I think, from watching from the beginning to where, that students now, and even myself, are finding the seat of the director from the frame. There could be so many things depending on how you wanna have it viewed, and that's what's been exciting. Sometimes we've got in Hierarchy of Fish where this lighting type this view, oh good Lord, this view is something we're okay with because it's part of the aesthetic, and sometimes talking directly into the camera this close. So we're having a lot of fun with directorial. There's so many things you can do, but Laurel, I know, can certainly hit you up. One of the things I think has been so great with the muscle that's getting developed with all these students is they're learning to listen, which is the foundation of Meisner technique, of allowing your ear to really hear the meanings of what's being said to you and how it's being said to you. Because in a lot of our shows, we're not talking to the camera or even to the boxes. They have Post-its with the characters' names stuck along the walls, and it creates an illusion for us. So they're working off of their imagination and their ear. And I'm just loving it because it's showing the power of their imagination and their ears, which to me is the bedrock of acting.
And that's in our acting for the camera, specific, but in auditioning specifically. And hit me up if you want. We can talk specifically. I can give you some give you some real tips. But what Scott was talking about the Post-its, and it's this beautiful ability and it to keep the movie, your movie, of what you're hearing and the imagination of your mind. It just, Meisner, you are responding to that, listening through your movie that's running in that head, whether you're doing it for an online production or you're doing it for a self-tape. And it's just so exciting, because I think what's happening is the techniques that we learn in acting for the camera, the techniques that we learn in auditioning, self-tapes, everything, it's just all colliding, and on hyperdrive. And yeah, hit me up and we can talk about some of the specifics that everybody's mentioned here that you might utilize for yourself and try and explore in what's coming up.
Speaking of, why don't we just go ahead and
Perfect.
start?
Thank you so much.
Let's show you a little bit of what we're doing in class. This is part of the Meisner technique. These are scenes that are very particular scenes that are assigned to them. It has nothing to do with casting, and it has nothing to do with character, because first year has nothing to do with character work. It has everything to do with yourself within the imaginary circumstance. So understanding an imaginary circumstance and being able to process your own feelings is the training, so that once you know yourself, then you can take on a character and process their emotional life with greater depth. So this is a rehearsal. It's where they've been in class, and we are just continuing on. You may hear me come through the screen, and you might hear some snaps. We can talk about that later, but those are coaching techniques and that help them align themselves to the process. You might actually hear me say repeat, and that is also part of the technique, and then bring them back into text. And I think we can just let the scene show for itself, and you can ask questions. Laurel, you had your hand up?
I was gonna say, and if y'all have anything else to say, you can. A way to watch this is if you go down to the bottom and you stop your video, and then you click video settings, hide non-video participants. The only people you'll be able to see are Nick and Maddie, and then you'll be able to hear Scott when he's coaching. So
I know that is that something I have to do? I don't have to do anything, right?
No,
you don't have to. You don't have to.
Okay,
You can stay there.
Say it again, Laurel.
So
Stop your video.
yeah, I'm gonna cut out in a little while. We're gonna ask everybody. Yeah, everybody's doing it, but please come back.
And then if you haven't hid your non-video participants, you can do that by clicking like on the little ellipses next to Scott or next to anybody, and click hide non-video, and then all of those little names that were just black squares go away.
Nick, why don't you go up?
Cool.
And you can, and Madison, put your attention on what you're doing and the meaning of it, and it's just like class, and I'll talk just a second, and I'll click out, and I'll say you can go in action. All right. So how I'm talking right now is exactly how class goes. The actor Madison is working on really doing. And what she's doing has very specific and particular personal meaning to her due to a circumstance that causes this scene. The actor Nick is going out and is doing what's called emotional preparation, where he gets related through daydreams or movement or listening to music, whatever he does behind that door. is up to him, and we've worked through how to do that, to become emotionally and personally connected to his circumstance. So that said, I'm gonna step out and we'll let the scene go as you are ready. All right, Madison and Nick.
Where's all the furniture, honey?
They took it away. No installments paid.
When?
3 o'clock.
They can't do that.
Can't? They did it.
Why, the Palookas? We paid 3/4.
The man said read the contract.
We must have signed a phony.
It's a regular contract and you signed it.
Do your work, Madison.
Don't be so sour, Edna.
Repeat.
Don't be so sour, Edna.
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 Oh, do it in the movies, Joe. They pay Clark Gable big money for it.
This is a hell of a house to come home to. Take my word.
Oh, take my word. Whose fault is it?
Must you start that stuff again?
Oh, well, maybe you'd like to talk about books.
Repeat.
Maybe I'd like to talk about books.
Maybe you'd like to talk about books.
Maybe I'd like to talk about books.
Maybe you'd like to talk about books.
Maybe I'd like to slap you in the mouth.
No, you won't.
Jeez, Edna, you get me sore sometime.
Oh, but just look at me. I'm laughing all over.
Don't insult me. Well, can I help it if times are bad? What the hell do you want me to do? Jump off a bridge or something?
No. I just put the kids to bed so they don't know they missed a meal. If I don't have any shoes by tomorrow, she can't go to school.
Do your work.
Honey, I rode the wheels off the chariot today. I cruised around 5 hours without a call. It's conditions.
How is the A&P?
I booked 2:20 on the clock. A lady with a dog was lit. She gave me a quarter tip by mistake. If you'd only listened to me, we're rolling in wealth.
Yeah? How much?
I had coffee and in a beanery. $1.04.
Repeat.
$1.04.
$1.04.
$1.04.
$1.04.
$1.04. Second month's rent is due tomorrow.
Don't look at me that way, Edna.
I'm looking through you, not at you. Everything was gonna be ducky. A cottage by the waterfall, roses and Bacardi. You are a 4-star bust. If you think I'm standing for it much longer, you're crazy as a bedbug.
I'd get another job if I could. There's no work. You know it.
I only know we're at the bottom of the ocean.
What can I do?
Who's the man in the house, you or me?
Repeat.
Who's the man in the house, me or you?
Who's the man in the house, you or me?
Who's the man in the house, me or you?
Who's the man in the house, you or me?
That's no answer. Get down to brass tacks. Christ, give me
Stand up for yourself, Nick.
a coffee and a Java all day. I'm hungry too, babe. I'd work my fingers to the bone if
I'll open a can of salmon.
Not now. Tell me what to do.
I'm not God.
Jeez, I wish I was a kid again. I didn't have to think about the next minute.
Oh, but you're not a kid, and you do have to think about the next minute. You got 2 bloody kids sleeping in the next room. They need food and clothes. I'm not mentioning anything else, but we are stalled like a flipper in the snow. For 5 years, I laid awake at night listening to my heart pound. For God's sake, Joe, do something. Get wise. Maybe get your boys together. Maybe go on strike for better pay. Papa did during the war and they went out. Turning into a sour old nag.
Strikes don't work.
Who told you?
Besides, that means not a nickel a week while we're out. Then when it's over, they don't take you back.
Suppose they don't, what's to lose?
Well, we're averaging $6, $7 a week now.
That just pays for the rent.
That is something, Edna.
It isn't.
Stand up for yourself, Nick.
He'll push you down to 3 or 4 a week before you know it. Then you'll say, oh, that's something too.
There's too many cabs on the street. That's the whole damn trouble.
Let the company worry about that, you big fool. If their cabs weren't making a profit, they'd take them off the streets. Or maybe you think they're just in business that pay Joe Mitchell's rent.
You don't know ABC, Edna.
Oh, I know this. Your boss is making suckers out of you boys every minute. Yes, and suckers out of all the wives and the innocent kids who will grow up with crooked spines and sick bones. Sure, I see it in the papers, how good orange juice is for kids. But damn it, Joe, our kids get colds one on top of the other. They look like little ghosts.
Do your work, get ready. You have a place to go.
Look like little ghosts.
Repeat.
They look like little ghosts.
They look like little ghosts.
Connect.
They look like little ghosts.
They look like little ghosts.
You'll wake them up.
They look like little ghosts.
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 Text.
You'll wake them up.
Betty never saw a grapefruit. I took her to the store last week and she pointed out a sack of grapefruits and said, "What's that?" My God, Joe, the world is supposed to be for all of us.
You'll wake them up.
I don't care, as long as I can maybe wake you up.
Don't insult me. One man can't make a strike.
Oh, who says one? You got hundreds in your rotten union.
The union ain't rotten.
Yeah?
You out? All right, let's go. We'll come back. We'll come back. All right. Okay, we'll come back, everybody. Okay. And if everybody can come back, yeah. Good, that's how we do in class. And I just, you know, you can still listen and respond. And we work within the reality of what's given us. And if anybody has questions or thoughts about what you were seeing, it's a rehearsal and it's a process. And the actors can share. Remember, you're all muted, so if you have a question. Nick and Madison, can you share a little bit about what your process here?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first. It's definitely been just a weird process going from, doing this face to face and then, all of a sudden, the mighty COVID-19 hits and now you got to go back into your home and do stuff. But I think it's honestly been such a rewarding effect because now we get to dive like a lot deeper into scripts and these scenes we've been assigned. You're doing a lot of like table work now. And so really the acting is just to help create the behavior. We're still not focusing on characters like Scott said, but you want to make sure that you want to try and make the language of the show your language. And so the biggest thing for me was trying to just, make the language mine. And obviously having Maddie on the other screen helps a lot because again, the fundamentals, listening and responding. And so that definitely to me was just one of the really interesting things about it was because how can you do it when they're not in the room and you're not, you're really not seeing someone there, but through the digital age, we found a way. And so it's been really fun and very interesting for me to look at acting in this medium and definitely just like, as Scott and others have mentioned before, playing with your imagination and really using your imagination to like, picture what's happening on the other side and using that to fuel your behavior and fuel your emotions and stuff like that. So it's definitely been really interesting and I've been enjoying it a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just really interesting. And I think kind of like a positive aspect on this whole thing is that I think rehearsals are so much easier because you don't have to like meet up, if that makes sense. Like you can literally just be like, okay, I mean, like I just ate lunch, I have like an hour before class, or like this and this, I'll just FaceTime and then we can meet for 15 minutes to an hour and work, as opposed to like, oh, I have to drive to your house if, from like high school, or like in college, it's like I have to walk all the way to your dorm, we have to find a place to rehearse, like that whole thing. I think it's been a lot easier to just like get online really quick and rehearse.
Can you guys share, and if anyone has questions regarding like even the work of what you might have seen, or you might have heard me saying repeat or snapping my fingers, or where that you're not seeing a performance, you're seeing a process and what they're working for. So if you guys want to share about that, or anybody wants to ask questions about that, would be great.
Yeah, do you have any?
Yeah, Liam.
So what does the repeating help with exactly?
Yeah.
Repetition. Yeah, repetition is used as a tool to connect. And it's a focus. It's an ability to train yourself to, if you can hear the person, if you can really hear them, then you can process it. And we do that in life. We hear everything, but we pick and choose what we want to have. And whether it has meaning or not, we'll listen to it. But on the stage, because it's a playwright, it has meaning. And our job is to process that meaning. So repetition begins at the very beginning of the semester, and it goes away by the second semester. And now the actor knows how to listen. However, we'll bring it back so that when the actor might be in their head, you might have seen Madison. It's not that they're supposed to be off book right now, but Madison I can start to see that as a teacher, I know Madison, that she may not be quite, or Nick might not be processing it, really, really hearing the meaning and taking in what is actually being said. So I will say, repeat. And what it does, it's conditioning them to sound it out. They repeat it, they sound it out, and it's like a pill that you're swallowing. And once you start to see them connect and get alive, boom, we go right back to the text. So it's a training mechanism. Eventually it goes away completely. You couldn't really do that on stage or on film. But for the exercise, I think our actors are such fantastic listeners. It's the bottom line of acting, to be able to hear from your heart in an imaginary circumstance. It's not like how civilians listen. If we did, we would be bombarded with emotions if we listened that way. So good question. Anything else that you saw, the text or emotion, like what they're doing behind the door, or the activity that you saw? If you guys may say, you know, what they're doing right now, we would be in the classroom, and it's exactly like the exercise that's improv, except now they're given text.
Laura has a question.
Yeah, Laura.
So Nick, when you go behind the door, like, I know Scott was saying that you work on what you do behind the door early on when you start the scene, but does it ever like change what you do depending on like how you're feeling that day?
Yeah, obviously, you know, we're human beings and stuff happens, and sometimes you gotta just take that into effect. I can even remember, like, last night we were rehearsing this with Scott, and it was like late at night and we were all tired, and like, but Scott told us, like, you know, it happens, just let it help fuel your emotional prep, because obviously, you know, every day is not going to be perfect. We wish it was, but every day is not going to be perfect. But, you know, sometimes you can use that energy, you know, the negative or positive, whatever's coming through your day, to help you get through that performance and through that
Nick,
emotional
can
prep.
you share with Laurel what that is that we talked about? Because that's in our very beginning. That's the first lesson of Meisner class, what we call the very, very, very beginning, that the actor has to train themselves, because every day is different. And
yeah.
so what do we call it?
Emotional prep.
But you do it through the creative state.
The creative state, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, you know, getting into your creative state is, it's a process, but it's basically like, you know, when you were a kid and like you would love to like just, you know, go out and play and like play pretend and stuff like that. It's conditioning yourself to get back into that mindset. And so basically what I do when I go out, when I went out behind the door, is to basically get myself emotionally ready for the scene. And that's where circumstances come in, because obviously something had to happen to us to, you know, make this scene happen for us. So we obviously need to take those circumstances into, we need to take them into effect when we go out there, so that we make sure that we're coming into the scene with like the correct behavior and the correct emotion and all that. And so like Scott was saying, this could be something is, you know, using movement, listening to music, because I know, at least for me, you know, different types of music make me feel different emotions. And so, you know, maybe if, you know, if I'm I'm trying to come into the door like super angry, you know, I'm listening to some heavy metal or some like, Judas Priest or Screamo or something like that, but it's different for everyone. So as you come in and as you start the process and finding your creative state, you'll find what works best for you, which is, you know, what you should be doing. It's, you know, obviously there's the Meisner technique, but, you know, there are ways where you can look at it and say, okay, this is what works best for me. And so I should probably do it this way if I want to get the correct emotional life and preparation for that. So, yeah.
I think what's cool about what we're learning from this is that Meisner can have, I don't believe it at all, but it can have a reputation of it's only for realism. And look, you guys, this is not real. This is, you know, what exists past here, you don't even know what's going on, but I do. And I just, again, I think Meisner's strength is really in, like we said, listening and your imagination and being able to process what your heart has meaning to you. And then from there, we go into, like Carolyn said, we're going into styles work, things that are not, that's not realistic at all. And how do you...
The sophomore class right now, we're working on, and I modified a little bit when we went to Zoom, but we were already going to do non-realism, and we're working on Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, 6 characters looking for an author, and which is the translation, has got that title. And Mackinac, and they are all require the actors to be real, like to really listen and to behave realistically within the slightly odd circumstances and the odd style that they're in. And all of them are, there's something not realistic about the situation, and which lends Rosencrantz and Guildenstern don't know where they are or what's happening. So that one particularly lends itself really well to this. I'm not getting any response. Is there anybody out there? Are we all alone on this planet? Which really kind of, it's been a really kind of nifty way to connect from realism, which we worked on the first half of the semester, into that using Zoom.
Other questions or thoughts? I see some new people have come in. Anything, Madison, Laurel, what you saw today, or?
I was gonna say, I have a comment about the just Meisner and then linking it to the rest of stuff, but also I want to see if you guys have any questions first, because like this is a really good platform to ask questions, and no one's gonna judge you for any questions. So.
Do you like answering questions?
Yeah, seriously.
Do you have the chance to explore other techniques than the Meisner technique?
Yeah, Carolyn, can you speak of this?
Yeah, I am not a Meisner trained actor. I also identify myself a little bit more as a director than an actor, although I started as an actor. I went through kind of the various Uta Hagen, Stanislavski kind of American hodgepodge, but I am far more physically, I approach things far more physically. I teach the Michael Chekhov technique. I also steal things from Gutowski. So I teach movement, but a lot of the various movement approaches are really more what I do as an actor. I'm an actor who I don't go outside in, but the outside and the physical life of the character is very important to me. So I'm teaching the freshmen this semester, Movement 1, and so Nick and Madison are in there with me, and so they're getting that, which actually, strangely, even though it seems like it might be different from Meisner, I think pairs with it really well. So they're kind of getting a sense of both things, and for some people, it can unlock something that's maybe been a little bit stuck.
Martha, Martha does some in the second year, and some other classes, Uta Hagen's exercises, which also pairs well because of the detail and environment and in sensuality and explorations of moments. Do you want to share a little?
Sure. When Scott was talking about circumstances, and here Madison and Nick were engaged in the circumstances of the play and their reality, and through a lot of Uda's exercises, we work to get specifically rooted in that world that that the text is opening our imagination's door to, so we can personalize it, even taking the text and personalize it through exercises of that reality. And they're tools, as Scott said, about the Meisner. These are additional tools, because I think what's wonderful about all of the schools that we draw from, the schools that Carolyn is speaking of, the checkup and movement, but every school of study gives you tools. And what's fabulous is you get to explore them and get deep in them and find the ones that click. I mean, Meisner's our base, because we have to be present and we have to know ourselves. And then we get these tools to just keep enriching and draw from, and to create our own little tool chest of what works really well. I'd studied with Uda for a really long time, and suddenly I said, I got to go over here to Meisner. I'm getting stuck, and started to study over there. So I think throughout your career as an artist, as an actor, you're going to be exploring technique from a variety of angles, and we get to do that here. So I think it's really exciting, because that's what your job is, really, is to find all of these tools, put them together in the way that they click for you to draw from.
We also, in the junior and senior year, you have Shakespeare and performance styles later. So there is, if you start here, and then it's kind of like an extension out.
My elevator speech, I know you might have heard it before, but with Meisner, he was a piano teacher, and that's where he got his technique that he created, was from teaching piano. So I would say that's why I think it works so well as a foundation class, because it's like learning scale work and learning finger placement, which can be so tedious. But once you've got this down and you know where the keys are, and you've solved hand problem movement, and you've solved finger movement, then you can open yourself up to so many techniques. You can put so many different pages of music in you and learn and grow. But that's what that is. And I believe in it so much and love it. It's so practical.
One thing too is it is so beautiful for camera work, because the camera listens, just like Madison and Nick, when they were repeating, the camera really listens, just like in Meisner technique, and it responds. I mean, it absorbs everything. And that presence, that being totally present, totally with yourself, drawing from, is just the heart of the camera work, So it's really exciting to see the students who come all the way through and getting exposed to all of it, and having that sound foundation in these techniques, and then coming in with camera and sharing it with camera. They're just ready,
It's so good to see you guys. Austin, I see that you came in, and so
John's there.
John's here.
Caitlin.
I think this is, and Zach, you guys have been seeing Zach, I'm sure he's here. I'm sure you all know Zach. But I think this is at our time. Is that right, Zach?
I mean, you can go ultimately really as long as you want.
Okay.
I
will say this: if anyone, you need to move on, please feel free to do so. I'll hang around and answer any questions, or if anybody wants, so we can carry on a conversation too.
May I interject something for 1 second?
Yes, please.
Sorry. Thank you to those who were able to join us for trivia this week. I had a blast doing that with you all. Also today, I know some of you have questions that you've been asking of me in the Office of Admissions that you are desperately waiting for answers for. And I'm getting to you as I get responses. But also today, we will be doing open office hours as admissions counselors from 3 to 5. You can find my individual meeting room on the Admitted Freshman Day website. So if you have questions still that you would like us to go through or anything like that, please feel free to stop by and we'll chat about it.
I'm also answering some questions on the chat that have been sent to me privately. So if anybody wants to do that, they can.
I just have to say, in looking at, I'm so excited about y'all all being here, looking at, all your faces and that you're coming. And also, as I sit here and look at Nathan, I got to do a scene from Catch-22. You just look like you're in the helicopter.
Who, Caleb?
Yeah, Caleb and Nathan. I want to put both of them in the scene from Catch-22. You don't know the movie. It's based on a wonderful novel, and it's fabulous with Alan Arkin. I recommend it.
Wait, can I ask a question really fast?
Yeah.
Of you guys that are in here right now, I know like decisions are still being made. How many of you are like, I'm coming to Shenandoah?
Yeah, who's committed?
Oh, yay! I'm gonna cry.
most
I'm
likely.
so emotional. Scott always makes fun of me. I'm the one who I get happy in class, I get angry in class, cry. That's my emotional response. But I'm really excited to meet you guys. Oh, okay, that's all. Back to business.
I have a question.
Hey, Sam, yeah.
Yeah.
How do we sit in on or watch the classes?
I'll send you a link today.
Okay.
And you can, and I'll give you my cell since it's easier right now. And you just text me and go, hey, I want to come to class.
Okay.
And,
Thank you.
And you come in. If anybody, Nathan, do you want to say anything about what that's been like? You've been in our classes.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to sit in on 2 classes so far and a rehearsal for the hierarchy of fish. All in one day, which was crazy. But yeah, the classes were amazing. I mean, the professors are amazing at what they do. That's why they're in the positions that they are. The students are amazing, and I was able to sit in on a freshman class and a junior class, and I really could see the progression and like just the line of progression where you go in and you're at one point, and then through the 2 years to being a junior, you just blossom, and it looked secondhand, like with the juniors in their acting for film or screen. Film, yeah.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah, I would highly recommend sitting on classes, especially if you haven't committed to one place yet, like me. I'm still deciding between 2.
What?
But
What?
I'm sorry, it's a hard decision. I'm so bad at making a decision.
Listen,
I'm
everybody,
so bad.
Those of you who are here, I want you to know, if you could have seen everyone's auditions, and I always tell the class ahead, oh my gosh, what are they like? What are they like? I found this year's so it's just like a bar just keeps getting higher. Your voice and speech in regards to the Shakespeare work was really sharp and full. Leon, where are you? Your voice and speech was off the chart. And there's also a wide creativity, meaning some character actors that were coming in here as young people who are doing things that I wouldn't have at first gone, oh, okay. There's also a nice sense of very open and vulnerable, like very sensitive actors too. So,
and I'd also say knowing yourself too. There's a real level of knowing yourself and having a clear voice.
Can I please address a couple questions that have come in?
Okay.
That might be a little bit more general. One has to do with minoring. And yes, it is possible to minor, especially with our new curriculum, which has some more open electives. It's more easily, you can minor more easily if you have any transfer credits, because our gen ed curriculum is not very, you don't have, it's like 30 credits and some of those are already embedded in the major. So if you've got 2 courses, math or psych or English or something like that, that transfers in, that becomes, or if you want to do them in the summer, then it becomes easier to minor, because a minor is usually 15 to 18 credits. Then there was another question about dance classes online. I think, but yes, they're happening. Dance classes are being taught online. Voice lessons are being taught online. I'm not sure if the question was about were they still happening online, or about is it possible for acting majors to take dance? And that usually comes up a lot, about voice, dance, those types of things, instrumental lessons. We can't overburden a dance class with our students, because the musical theater majors and the dance majors need to have room in it. That being said, if there is room, then people can be in the dance class. All of our students do take contact improv with dance faculty. So we're always, it's tough, because, you know, a dance teacher can only take so many people in a room. I would say that if you are interested in any voice or music lessons, that is more possible, especially, this is so strange, because our music therapy major changed and required less private lessons, which means that our private lesson teachers have a little more room to be able to teach, especially voice, because a lot of the music therapy majors are voice based. That's a little bit of a weird kind of thing, but that's always a question. I know Madison was very, when she came, she was like, can I take classes somewhere else, you know, in other things? I want to get more of that. Personally, I try to get students to take more literature, more history, more psych, something, because it makes you a better actor. The more you know about people and about history and about society, the better actor you are. And, you know, any play you do, pretty much any play you do is automatically historical. You know, if you're doing a play that was written in 1991, that's historical, you know, or futuristic, but you know what I mean? Even something that's written for right now, as we know, the world changes so fast that we have to be able to imagine or learn about other worlds and other time periods. So although we are BFA, not a BA, BA would have more classes taking in liberal arts and all of that. We definitely want well-rounded people.
Can I piggyback off of that?
Yeah.
For voice and with the gen eds also. So with voice, just keep your eyes out once you get to school as well. I did my freshman year was a program where they take master's pedagogy students who are required to teach private lessons. And they only take like between 10 and 15 people, depending on how many master's students there are, but you can apply, and it's free voice lessons for the semester because it's like part of the master's students curriculum. And that was incredible. And then also, it's always worth emailing one of the private vocal instructors that normally like teach the music therapy to the musical theater students. Because this semester this whole year I got really, really lucky, and I'm in with one of those teachers. So just keep your eyes and ears out, because there are more ways to do it than just like the private voice teachers. So that's just something to know going in. And then also a cool thing about gen eds that I'm kind of like navigating, I came in with an associate's degree because I did a dual enrollment thing in college. So like all my gen ed requirements are fulfilled. But what I'm doing this coming semester, you guys are all going to teach or take a first year seminar class. And it's those classes, you can choose anything from, like, I did Olympics on film, which was how the Olympic movement and the film movement progressed together. And it was really, really cool. And I loved that professor. And like, if you use that and keep in touch with those professors, they'll let you know what other classes they're taking. So I'm taking like a multimedia journalism class this fall with him. So even if you come in with credits and like have things filled up, whatever your first year seminar is, like, get to know that teacher, because they're teaching the class because they want to most of the time. And like, they're going to be someone who they help you register for your classes. the first year you're there. They help you get acclimated, and like they're gonna be there for you and remember you the whole time you're there. It's one of the advantages of a small school and faculty who care. So keep that in mind.
I was in Ghost Stories and Legends for my first year seminar. So we got to watch like The Conjuring, and we watched Coco, and we learned just like all about these like different legends from different cultures and stuff. And I think that's generally the kind of main idea behind first year seminar, is just understanding like different cultures and understanding like that we aren't the only people here, and just understanding like, yeah, ghost stories and legends are like cool, and like basic ones, but it's like there's such a wide range. So I think that any kind of class that you take first year seminar is about like kind of like opening up like your eyes to all like everything that's going on. But that class was really
and also being in classes with non-conservatory majors, because like once you start your curriculum and like dig in, you're just gonna be not just with your class, but like you're just gonna be with like-minded people a lot of the time. Like there's a lot of, I'm rambling. It's not all like-minded people, but it's all conservatory people. So first year seminar is a really nice way to get connected with people outside of the conservatory and have like non-theater friends. So
I just want to jump in because I got to jump out. So I wanted to say goodbye to everybody. So glad to be with you. Be well, be safe, be at SU.
Bye, Martha.
See you later.
Hey, before I jump out too, I just wanted Scott or Laurel, if you could tell everybody if they're not busy Sunday, can they come to Facebook and see the show?
Have you all gotten information on if anybody who does it? But the Hierarchy of Fish will be on Shenandoah Facebook page, as well as the Farm Theater, who we're collaborating with, and it starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it will be live.
Can I just say again about the community? I mean, this community for that particular show, that's going to be a national community.
Yeah,
Scott,
we have Ireland and London watching as well.
So
That's
just
both at the Abbey.
part of that community. If you can on Sunday, you'll love it. All right. When we watch Blythe Spirit, I see John Ortiz from Labyrinth Theater has logged on, and I'm like, oh, I'm watching Blythe Spirit at Shenandoah University with some really well-known theater people in the national community. It was really cool.
We have bled. We're all one community. It really is true. I say that, kind of a joke, but it is really amazing that it's just something that we get out of this crazy period. But yeah, it is wild.
Yeah.
That we're seeing.
I hope to see all of you in the fall, and I wish you the best of luck finishing your senior years. Reach out if you have any questions, particularly about voice and speech or about a dream play for next year. I'm looking forward to working with every one of you. So take care.
Nice to see you, Kirsten.
Nice to see you all too.
Bye, Kirsten.
Bye.
Austin, I'm trying to email you now a link. But if anyone wants me to get them my link to tonight's rehearsal or whenever rehearsal, the Playwrights at Night is a different link.
It's on Facebook.
Okay.
I think probably if you search Shenandoah, let me see what it's called.
I have the Zoom ID. I can send it in the chat for Playwrights.
Okay. Scott's Zoom.
I'm gonna log off because I have to get ready to teach.
Okay.
See you in an hour.
Bye.
And Austin, here it goes. I'm if everyone knows, I'm a little slow with technology. All right, that went to you, Austin.
Cool, thank you.
All right. Hello.
Yeah, seriously, if you guys have any questions about anything as they pop up, even if you decide to come here and it's like, what school supplies do I need? I know I DM'd a junior that summer before my freshman year. So seriously, message us on social media. I dropped my email in the chat. you can send that there. But seriously, like all of us, email me for my phone number and we can chat about anything. Like the door is wide open. None of us are doing anything or going anywhere. So like take advantage of that. But yeah, we're like just phone call, email, DM away.
Seriously, this is for you guys. Like we definitely like, you know, this was like, I was in your shoes a year ago today. So like, definitely reach out, please, because we're here to do this for you guys. I mean, it could not just, you know, it might not just be about like classes and theater and stuff. It could be about food and housing and other activities. We know that's all a part of the college experience. But yes, this is for you guys. So please, if you have literally anything, just reach out. Yeah.
Sweet. Anyone got anything else while we're all still here?
Last minute stuff.
I would like to hear where everybody is. I'll start with Liam. I know I can remember some places, but where are you zooming from today?
I am from Maryland.
Okay, cool. Jordan?
I'm from Florida.
Okay, and where in Florida?
Like around Orlando by Disney, kind of, about an hour out.
All right, Nathan?
South Central Connecticut.
Wow, okay. Caleb?
Williamsburg, Virginia.
Busch Gardens. I go all the time. Laurel? Laura?
Oh, Manassas, Virginia.
Ah, not too far. Austin?
Yeah, I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay. Lisa? You're nearby.
Virginia.
Yeah, you're nearby. Caitlin?
I'm from upstate New York.
Okay. John?
Chesapeake, Virginia.
That's right, not too far. Rebecca, New York City. Yes?
I'm from New Jersey.
Well, it's the same, sorta.
Yeah.
I knew you were right there. Samuel?
Leesburg, Virginia.
Leesburg, okay, not too far. And Tina?
Boston, Massachusetts.
Right, who knows? Who's friends with Finn?
Mm-hmm.
He's not with you, is he?
No, he's not.
He better not bring all that corona. Wow. What about, did I get to everybody? I think so. Cool. All right. Well, what else? Anything? It's okay to be quiet. We can just sit. We can look at each other like the Brady Bunch. Well, all right. Well, should I again reach out to me, you guys, if you don't have my Zoom contact, and so I can get you into a class or come and see rehearsal. And Austin, I'll shoot you my cell. So it's easier to get these days. It's so easy to get me by cell. And just go heads up. Hey, I want to come to class. All right. Cool. All right, everybody. I have a class at 3:30, and you're all more than welcome to come see it. It's an acting class. And we're doing scene work. So come and see it. And they're on their feet. So they're moving around. And if you'd like to come see it, that class is the musical theater class. And but we're all treated as one, actors. And then tonight, 7 o'clock, we have rehearsal. And there's 11 o'clock playwrights. Carolyn is directing one tonight. So there's plenty to do.
You're really funny.
So this is one other thing, and I'm kind of talking, I was going to say talking out of my ass, but I don't know if I can cuss on here, but I did anyway. Oops.
We are recording. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Repeat.
No.
No, Laurel.
What I was going to say was just another thing about students wanting to create. I'm pretty sure that there's one house with 4 senior guys that live in it, and they're moving out this week. I think starting tonight after Playwrights, they're doing a 24-hour Zoom stream where the 4 of them are writing and putting up a show. Yeah, Avery, Richard, Austin, and Annie are doing that. So if that actually happens, we can also put that link in the Facebook group. And like, obviously you don't have to watch it for 24 hours, but like if you just want to pop in and just see what they're doing, they're literally just doing it because they want to. That's, yeah, there's a type of people that go to this school. So yeah, but they're incredibly smart. So
They're
yeah.
great. Avery just got, good grief. Sorry, he's still on hold, but he just got an internship with Rebecca, New Jersey Shakespeare, and right across the river. So we're so excited for him. There's some other great
Scott.
Yeah.
He's in Winchester till Saturday. You should make him come way back through your
We're not allowed
window.
to talk about that. I like to say I'm healthy and don't get sick, but Avery and I might sit out on my courtyard and stay 10 feet apart and watch Hierarchy.
Aw. That's
Right.
all.
And now that he's graduating, maybe I can have a drink or two. All right, everybody. It's so good to see you all. And we want you. Please. I look at all of you and I go, oh my gosh, I'm remembering your auditions and your interviews. All of you. All right. Don't listen to those other places. Be here. This is what we've got, and we want you so badly. All right.